Tonight on CTV News, a towering plan.
This is going to bring new energy to a part of downtown that really needs it.
A massive new development approved that will take the city's skyline to new heights. Also tonight.
It's very hard to come back from the rhetoric of 51st state.
Staying tough against Donald Trump's tariff threats, the overwhelming number of Canadians who say Ottawa shouldn't give in to U.S. demands. And
so with those dry conditions returning and stronger wind, it is likely that we will see extreme fire behavior.
The latest on BC's wildfire fight as twin fires merge, threatening the remote village of Clinton.
This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Look up, look way up. Vancouver's skyline is set to look a whole lot different and a whole lot taller. CTV's Martin McMahon has more on a council decision today that sets a new vision for downtown with a trio of skyscrapers that will be the tallest in Western Canada.
This is what Holborn Group has envisioned and what Vancouver City Council has largely greenlit.
This is really probably one of the most significant redevelopments council has considered in many years.
A big decision for what could become the city's three biggest towers, the tallest of which would be 79 stories in the heart of downtown. Possible now after council approved a rezoning application for the block surrounded by Dunsmuir, Richards, West Georgia, and Seymour Streets.
This is really a once-in-a-lifetime project for our city. This is going to bring new energy to a part of downtown that really needs it.
The project would bring 1,500 mostly market price housing units and a 920-room hotel.
The fact that it will include strata ownership opportunities, rental, commercial, the hotel conference space, the social housing at Abbott was talked about with the childcare. I think the public access viewing platform will be welcomed.
But the decision comes before the city has wrapped up its review on its tall buildings policy.
That process hadn't been completed. In fact, staff had told us that there was still analysis to be done on the public feedback on that. So I think if we're going to do these processes, we should at least allow them to play out.
Beyond the project itself, Holborn's history came under scrutiny during the public hearing, specifically what happened at Little Mountain, where it displaced around 700 people who had been living in social housing before leaving the site mostly empty for a decade.
And we certainly heard that in the course of the public hearing. A lot of folks were still upset about that and the failure to deliver in a timely manner.
Due to various challenges, it could be years before the project actually gets underway. And the final project may look different for a variety of reasons, including aviation, with the suggestion NAV Canada could require shorter towers. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Canadians are fed up with the tariffs but remain resolute. This country cannot give in to Donald Trump's increasing demands. That's according to a new poll that also finds we're not as confident that BC and Canada will get a good deal. Here's CTV's Legislative Bureau Chief Rob Buffum with the numbers that show Canadians are still saying elbows up.
Canadians remain resolute despite more threats of new tariffs. They don't want Canada to buckle to the U.S. president's demands.
I think we need to make some kind of stand.
It sure feels like you got to do something. You don't want to stand by idly.
Polling out Monday from the Angus Reid Institute shows only 7% of those surveyed support making concessions in order to get tariffs lifted. And 62% want to see the country respond with counter tariffs if the States does slap new 50% ones on Canadian goods.
It's very hard to come back from the rhetoric of annexation. It's very hard to come back from the rhetoric of 51st state.
The Trump administration has cited bans on U.S. liquor, along with the Canadian tariffs on cars and its dairy management system, as irritants to reaching a trade deal. Premier Eby reiterated BC's booze ban is staying in place unless there's a trade deal negotiated. His forestry minister agrees.
Drop the duties, drop the tariffs. I have extended an invitation to the U.S. Lumber Coalition many times, Rob, to meet with me, but I think they're too scared to do so.
Still, despite the elbows up attitude from most of those polled and the tough talk from the government, industries directly in the line of fire, like softwood lumber, say after 18 months of this trade war, they might accept a less perfect truce than earlier in the fight.
I think the wait-and-see approach is starting to wane quite a bit amongst people. They want to start seeing some action happening.
Even if things do happen and a deal is reached, the majority of Canadians remain skeptical Trump will keep his end of any bargain.
Rob joins us live now from Victoria. Rob, what did the polls say about the Prime Minister getting a good deal with Trump?
Well, Nafisa, it appears as though people are a little bit less confident than that would happen than they were in the spring. Now just over 50% do not have confidence that it'll happen. They cite kind of two reasons. One would be lost confidence in Carney and his team, and about an equal number feel like Trump is simply too unpredictable for a good deal to be struck. Interestingly as well, of those surveyed, about 2 out of 3 say even if there is a deal, they're reluctant or disinterested in buying American goods, even if they are on our shelves. So it does appear as though these scars run deep. Nafisa.
Thank you, Rob. Despite rain and cooler weather here in Metro Vancouver, hot, dry weather and strong winds are hampering efforts to get several major wildfires under control. There have been more evacuation orders today in the Caribou, where the village of Clinton was evacuated on Friday. CTV's Shannon Patterson has the latest.
On Saturday night, the 59 Creek wildfire merged with the Pear Lake wildfire near the village of Clinton. It now measures at 63,000 hectares and is considered out of control.
It has grown significantly over the course of the last number of days, and while there was some precipitation over the last day, continue to be concerned with the direction that fire is heading.
So with those dry conditions returning and stronger wind, it is likely that we will see extreme fire behavior and column development.
The Pear Lake wildfire triggered more evacuations Monday, with an additional 583 properties now on evacuation order and 969 on evacuation alert.
We're certainly helping a lot of evacuees who are calling and confirming where to go, questions about highway access, hours for evacuee reception centers. It's been a lot of coordinating for moving evacuees.
We're right near 70 Mile right now. We got evacuated at 10 a.m. this morning.
Pathfinder Endeavours Limited is contracted by BC Hydro to protect their power poles.
So we go around to their transmission lines and their distribution lines, and we spray fire retardant. We're just working away from the fire as fast as we can before the fire gets too close. He's going to dump it.
On Friday, Jasper Maddie shot this video of the Pear Lake fire roaring towards Clinton.
It was really hot that day and windy. About an hour after I took that video, where I was standing was gone. It was all burned up.
It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and almost looks like a sandstorm, but I guess it'd be a smoke storm we're driving into. Wow.
Smoke from the wildfire is filling the air in nearby 100 Mile House.
It's been crazy smoky here. Like yesterday, I was having dinner with my kids and it got dark, like it looked like it was nighttime at about 3 p.m. and then it got light again at 7 o'clock. p.m. It was very strange.
It's actually not bad today, but it has been very smoky. When we park the trucks the next morning, we wake up, there's ash completely coated on it.
While the weekend did see slightly cooler temperatures in the region,
we are still seeing those hot and dry conditions returning today and into the week. So no reprieve is in the forecast for us.
Weather is also hampering efforts to get the Brunswick Creek complex of fires near Boston Bar under control. It's measured at 7,400 hectares, and hundreds of properties remain under evacuation order. With fires this large,
you'd need probably 3 weeks of solid rain to really put it out.
There's no hope of that this summer, so all crews can do is try to protect properties and people. Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
An evacuation alert for the city of Kimberley was rescinded over the weekend as the BC Wildfire Service continues to make progress on the Matthew Creek wildfire. Crews will, however, continue with their fire suppression efforts. Residents can expect to see resources working in and around the fire, and everyone needs to remain aware as conditions can change. Speaking of those conditions, and Lou joins us now, there are smoky skies in a lot of parts of the province despite what we're having down here, which is rain and cool weather.
Exactly, and that's what they need there, but unfortunately they are not getting. Here's a look at the air quality warnings in place in yellow, pretty much all of the central interior as well. well as the southern interior, but an orange air quality warning in place for the southern sections of the Cariboo region, and that includes Williams Lake for the next 24 to 48 hours. So anybody with respiratory problems asked to stay indoors and limit outdoor activities as we head into the next few days. For us, we will continue to see showers as we head through the overnight. Still a mild 16 degrees. Into tomorrow, we'll start off with some rain for your morning commute, but the good news is it does clear up quite nicely. We'll see seasonal temperatures and 22 degrees, and then it warms up as we head into the long weekend. Those details coming up.
All right, we'll check in later. Thanks, Sam. Still ahead tonight, burned out from carrying the burden of the healthcare system. A new study suggests 1 in 10 doctors is leaving the emergency room. What experts say needs to be done to address the problem. That's later on CTV News at 6. One man is dead, and BC's police watchdog is now investigating after a police incident overnight that started in Abbotsford and ended hours later in Aldergrove. CTV's Craig Krause reports.
We're here on 30th Avenue and 272nd in Aldergrove after a man was found dead inside a pickup truck early this morning. What started as an attempt to stop 2 suspected property crime suspects in Abbotsford has resulted in the focus of an IIO investigation. The Independent Investigations Office says Abbotsford police officers were called to the Petropass truck stop of Matsqui Place just before midnight after spotting 2 men believed to have been involved in property crime. As officers approached, the IIO says the men got into a gray Dodge Ram and drove away. The IIO says an officer fired their weapon during the encounter, but the truck continued west toward Langley. Just after 3 o'clock Monday morning, police responded to a report of a man inside a pickup truck in Aldergrove. When officers arrived, they say they found the same truck with 1 man dead inside. The second man who was in the vehicle has not been located, and investigators are now trying to determine what happened between the shooting in Abbotsford and the discovery of the truck here in Aldergrove. The IIO is asking anyone who might have information about the initial incident in Abbotsford to come forward, or if anyone saw the pickup arrive here in Aldergrove. Craig Krause, CTV News, Aldergrove.
New Westminster is getting more than $1 million in federal funding to combat gun crime and gang violence in the city.
By funding mentorship programs, outreach, employment readiness, and skills training opportunities, we're constructing a social safety net that ensures that no young person slips through the cracks.
The investment comes from Ottawa's Building Safer Communities Fund, launched in 2022 to support gun and gang violence prevention efforts. Over the next 3 years, more than $157 million will be provided to cities and Indigenous communities facing high levels of this type of crime. To Seattle, where police now believe 3 suspects were involved in a shootout near the Space Needle last night, one of whom was killed.
The Seattle Police Department detained a 15-year-old juvenile in connection with the shooting.
Teen made a brief court appearance today, while police say at least 1 other unknown suspect remains at large. Shots rang out around 6 last night in the final hours of the annual Bite of Seattle festival. 2 people died at the scene, including one of the suspects. A 3rd person later died in hospital. 4 others were wounded, including a 2-year-old boy. The injured have all been released from hospital. After the break, changes coming to the much maligned Metro Vancouver board.
We heard very clearly from the public and from the province that they really wanted us to get our house in order.
Reforming regional government by reducing the number of seats at the table. What other changes are in the works? As CTV News continues, stay with us. This was the scene earlier this afternoon in Langley. Fire crews rushing to put out a massive car fire. It happened on 208th Street just before 5. It's not known what caused the car to catch fire, but CTV has reached out to the Township of Langley for more information. Mounties in North Vancouver are asking for the public's help identifying these 2 teens. They were allegedly riding e-dirt bikes illegally through the streets of Edgemont Village last Thursday afternoon. After they fled a traffic stop, police say they decided not to chase them due to public safety concerns. Anyone with information is urged to call North Vancouver RCMP or Crime Stoppers. There could soon be fewer seats at the table at the Metro Vancouver Board. The regional body, which is made up of elected mayors and councillors from around the region, has voted in favour of reducing its size. And as CTV's Ben Milger reports, it's also proposing major changes in light of the massive cost overruns at the North Shore wastewater treatment plant.
The
The Metro Van Board says it's finally time to trim the fat. Pending provincial approval, there will be 11 fewer elected officials around the table at board meetings. 45 directors currently represent the 23 jurisdictions in the region.
I'm really pleased that the board supported the changes. We've heard very clearly from the public and from the province that they really wanted us to get our house in order. So reducing the size of the board overall so we have more efficient decision making, more accountable to taxpayers.
Under the current system, Vancouver has 7 directors and Surrey has 6. Each would be capped at 3 with a weighted voting system.
If you look at the size of the board itself, it's still way too large. You shouldn't be patting yourself on the back for a board that's going to be 34 people.
Directors are paid $557 per meeting, in addition to the regular salaries they receive in their municipalities. Several elected officials have called for those stipends to be reduced or eliminated.
I'm sure that taxpayers in Metro Vancouver will see through this and see that it's just rhetoric and it's not getting to the root causes of the over expenditures and the problems within Metro Vancouver.
The board also voted to create a major projects oversight committee made up of both elected officials and industry professionals. The move comes in the wake of cost overruns at the North Shore wastewater treatment plant that have seen the price tag balloon from $700 million to nearly $4 billion.
We want to make sure that we can manage projects responsibly and we're accountable to our ratepayers. So this project board is best practice used by the provincial governments, used by federal governments, and includes delegated authority to independent experts in capital infrastructure.
The board could also have different faces at the table next term, depending on the results of municipal elections in October. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Getting to Spanish banks is going to be a little tricky over the next couple of months. Starting today, Northwest Marine Drive will be closed until October. Crews are working to replace a culvert in Spanish Banks Creek. Traffic will be detoured along West 4th Avenue and Chancellor Boulevard. The province says the project will allow fish to move through the area and address sediment buildup from the November 2021 atmospheric river. A well-known member of Coquitlam's volunteer search and rescue team has died.
Of course, the tragedy doesn't equal that of a family who, for them, it's personal, it's a loved one.
Mike Coyle was the search manager for Coquitlam Search and Rescue. In an online post, the team says Coyle died while mountain biking on Sunday. Quote, having started with us almost 27 years ago, he leaves a lasting mark on our team. He will be dearly missed. Coyle often spoke to CTV News as an advocate for the Silver Alert system to help find lost seniors. Our viewers might also remember how he underwent a kidney transplant during the 2020 pandemic. The wife of a fellow Coquitlam SAR member volunteered to be a living donor. Condolences are pouring in from search and rescue teams across BC, praising Coyle for his decades of volunteer work. After the break, shots fired at the U.S. consulate in Toronto, why police stopped chasing the vehicle fleeing the scene, plus emergency room exodus.
So they're expected basically to pick up all the pieces that have been broken for a very long time.
The shocking number of emergency room doctors who are burnt out and leaving the front lines. As CTV News at 6 continues. The Gordie Howe International Bridge is open to traffic tonight following months of political wrangling and delays. Here's a look from the American side at some of the first vehicles to use the bridge after it officially opened around noon today. The span, named in honor of Mr. Hockey, is expected to serve as a crucial route for trade, jobs, and tourism. For nearly a century, the privately owned Ambassador Bridge was the only route for large commercial trucks moving between Windsor and Detroit. Businesses and the Ontario government say the new 6-lane bridge will be faster and less expensive.
This carries so much of our automotive trade, auto parts, and many other goods that go back and forth between the United States and Canada. It allows much more direct access back and forth, fewer traffic lights, but most important, it's competition.
Fittingly, the Howe family crossed first today. The hockey legend's grandson and his wife Margaret made the ceremonial drive around 9:45 a.m., about 2 hours before the public was allowed. With so much turmoil over the bridge, Howe says he's just happy it's now open. He says he's in awe of the bridge's architecture and called today's crossing surreal and incredible.
it's an honor to have been the first to cross.
It's after the Howes crossed, the first commercial vehicle drove onto the bridge. The truck from Tecumseh, Ontario, was carrying auto parts to Michigan. After the $6.4 billion bridge opened today, the U.S. ambassador to Canada released this statement. Today, we welcome the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge to traffic between Detroit, Michigan and Windsor, Ontario, adding new capacity to one of the busiest and most economically significant border crossings between the United States and Canada. President Trump made the opening possible and has consistently prioritized a safer, more secure, and prosperous North America. Trump insisted in February the U.S. would have to be compensated before he would allow the bridge to open. Mark Carney later agreed to make some adjustments to the sharing of revenue. The Conservatives accused the Prime Minister of bending to the Trump administration. Toronto police are investigating after the U.S. consulate was hit by gunfire for the second time this year. The shooting happened around 4:45 this morning, just 4 months after the building was last targeted by gunshots. An officer doing security detail noted a white Honda Accord with no license plate speeding from the scene. High pursuit later took place, but police stopped the chase as the Honda was speeding through Toronto streets. Police say they don't know how many suspects were in the vehicle or if this incident is connected to the previous shooting. Meanwhile, Toronto's mayor is promising justice.
We will get you. We have apprehended the previous shooters, all 3 of them, and we will bring you to justice. You will be held accountable.
2 security guards were also inside the consulate at the time of the shooting, but nobody was injured. Doctor burnout is threatening to push Canada's already strained healthcare system to the brink. A new study by the Canadian Medical Association Journal has found 1 in 10 emergency room doctors are leaving their position. CTV's Adrian Gobriel looks into why and some possible fixes.
In emergency departments across Canada, overworked and understaffed doctors are burning out and leaving.
The crisis is worsening year by year.
This new study published by the Canadian Medical Association Journal has uncovered that 1 in 10 emergency department physicians are walking off the job due to burnout. Dr. Kirsten DeWitt is the lead author of the national study that has spanned the last 6 years.
Emergency physicians are feeling like they're carrying the burden of healthcare.
Hundreds of doctors surveyed across Canada shared that they're burnt out, in part due to being forced to deliver hallway medicine to too many patients, while highlighting a lack of staffing support on the ground.
Patients are dying in our emergency departments, and we know that this is going to continue to happen.
Among the doctors who've remained working in the ER, 48% have reduced clinical hours and 20% have taken time off.
Some of the metrics that we're asked to pay attention to are how many patients you see, not how well you see them.
In May of 2020, emergency department Dr. James Maskalik was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. After successfully battling the disease, he returned to work with a renewed focus on his colleagues' well-being and their ability to deliver quality care.
The point of medicine is to show up for the human being in front of you. It's not to kind of like check these boxes and push people through.
Now the wellness director for the University of Toronto's Emergency Medicine Division, Dr. Maskalik believes that fundamental change is necessary to improve doctor retention and patient care.
Whatever allows us to spend more time with patients.
A comprehensive framework for redesigning Canada's emergency care system has been released by the Association of Emergency Physicians.
We have a huge shortage of nurses and physicians in the emergency department. We're all working overtime all the time.
A statement from the Office of Ontario's Minister of Health says in part that we need the federal government to step up as a full funding partner by renewing expiring health funding agreements to provide stable, predictable, and flexible long-term funding. Though doctors surveyed say their years-long plea for support have continuously been ignored by all levels of government. If meaningful steps aren't taken to address the issues raised, ER physicians we spoke with fear that much of the work being done to bolster the number of doctors across Canada could be squandered. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
The Prime Minister has called 3 by-elections, including one here in BC. Voters will be replacing former Liberal Jonathan Wilkinson in the riding of North Vancouver-Capilano. He stepped down in May to become Canada's ambassador to the European Union. Another by-election is being held in Ontario to replace former Liberal Nate Erskine-Smith, the other in Quebec to replace Richard Martel, the Conservative MP who resigned to take a Senate seat. The by-elections are scheduled for August 31st. After the break, concert nightmare.
Kids screaming, people crying, and fights starting.
Thunderstorms caused mayhem at a Post Malone concert in Edmonton. How the stadium was flooded with fans huddled inside.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. A look west from Vancouver's Creekside Park with the sun trying hard to break through the overcast skies over Falls Creek.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
These 2 trees were set on fire Sunday morning in Nanaimo's Bowen Park, where police say they detected a strong chemical odor. Fire crews responded quickly before the blaze caused significant damage. Anyone with information is asked to contact Nanaimo RCMP. Much of BC saw increased drought conditions heading into this summer, and one forecaster says more of the same is expected in 2027, thanks to super El Nino conditions.
Looking into next spring, kind of anticipating to see something similar to what we've just experienced. It could be worse even in terms of snowpack. Say this year was a extremely low snowpack year because of those warm winter drivers, and that's what we expect again next year.
Drought could spell trouble for sectors like farming, but BC says $100 million has been invested in projects that build or improve water storage and supply systems in water-scarce or drought-prone areas like the southern interior. Thousands of people filled Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium Saturday night for a Post Malone concert, but just a few songs in, a severe storm hit, forcing concert-goers to seek shelter. As CTV's Amanda Anderson reports, the chaos has put the stadium's emergency protocols under scrutiny.
A dark wall of clouds rolled into the city around 9 o'clock Saturday, a storm that packed strong winds and heavy rain as it made its way towards Commonwealth Stadium, where Post Malone was on stage.
He made his announcement as the rain was coming down, and then an announcement came over and just told everybody to safely make their way and find or seek shelter.
The city says the concourse can accommodate 31,000 people, and concertgoers were told to head to covered areas of the stadium.
And that's the main area where everybody, think of thousands of people in that stadium trying to flee into one small area on both sides. It was a disaster.
She says it got worse from there.
The crowd grew, kids screaming, people crying, and fights starting and people pushing. We thought we were protected, but we weren't. Those winds were so crazy. Things were flying in.
The city says inside the stadium was the safest option for fans to shelter in place. While the rec center next door was available, the city says it wasn't a good option because people would have had to walk around the stadium to get there. They say all emergency protocols were followed and gates were open for fans who wanted to leave. After leaving the stadium and seeing debris from fallen trees, branches, and toppled flagpoles, Adel is glad they were kept inside. Still, she wonders what more could have been done at the time.
We didn't see a security person in sight, nobody around for safety. I don't know, maybe this can help them looking. I hope this never happens again, but hopefully going forward they can better plan where they can situate people in an emergency like this.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
In Bosnia, thousands turned out to watch a centuries-old tradition on the weekend. 34 competitors took part in the 460th edition of the bridge diving competition in the southern city of Mostar. Jumping from a 24-meter-high bridge, there were 2 categories, head first and feet first. The bridge was built in 1566 and connects the 2 sides of the historic city. Not for me.
Nope,
but
me
it
neither.
looks like a great way to cool off for some people.
Yes, definitely. Would you go head first or feet first? I'm thinking no first, but great watching them. Glad they had fun. All right, for us, things have cooled down quite nicely. Here's a look at our almanac for today. We saw a high of 20.7 degrees, below the seasonal average of 23.4, but it was a mild night overnight last night, and with the rain that we saw this weekend, 31.7 millimeters so far this month, just shy of the monthly average of 34.1 millimeters. I'm thinking we will meet that with the rain that we saw today. Here's a look at the air quality warnings in place. In orange is the southern sections of the Caribou region, including Williams Lake. For the next 24 to 48 hours, stay indoors if you have respiratory problems especially. And in yellow, weather warnings from the northern tip of the Caribou stretching down to the Fraser Canyon, southern tip of the Okanagan, Thompson area into West Kootenay regions as we head into the next couple of days. Rain through the overnight into tomorrow morning for your early morning commute, continuing through the early afternoon for the southern south coast, clearing up quite nicely as we head into tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow we will see some showers to start off the early morning hours at 17, still around noon, but then it clears up, a mix of sun and cloud, and 20 degrees at 3, 21 degrees under partly cloudy skies by 6 o'clock. The chance of seeing afternoon thunder showers for the central interior tomorrow, your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Early morning showers clearing out of the way for Port Hardy, Campbell River and Comox with temperatures between 17 and 21. Same story for the South Island from Tofino right down to Victoria, temperatures between 16 and 23 degrees. For the Sunshine Coast, cloudy with showers and 20 degrees, and that's what you can expect up the Sea to Sky Highway. 17 for Whistler, 20 for Squamish, and for us across the Lower Mainland. We'll start off with some showers drying up through the afternoon with temperatures between 21 and 22. Mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies on Thursday, warming up to 23s on Friday as we head into the BC Day long weekend. Showers to start off the weekend on Saturday, clearing up quite nicely. A mix of sun and cloud for the Pride Parade on Sunday, and then on Holiday Monday, we're looking at 21 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud.
It's going to be August soon.
I know. I don't want to think about it, and we'll head into it with seasonal temperatures.
There's the summer going. All right, thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome.
After the break, rescuing Willow.
Here you go, Willow.
Okay, Willow. This poor pup fell 15 meters into a gorge. We'll show you how they got Willow out and how she's doing. The CTV News at 6 continues. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar dropped by more than 1/10 cent, sitting just under 71 cents U.S. Oil was down by more than $6, trading around $82 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained about $6 on the day. On the stock market, the TSX gained 199 points. The Dow Jones gained 262 points. The Vancouver Fraser Port Authority has launched a $6 million fund to support community and conservation projects in Delta as the Roberts Bank Terminal 2 nears construction.
Today's announcement reflects an important principle. While major infrastructure projects take years to build, the benefits they create can begin reaching communities right from the start.
Local organizations have until September 10th to apply for the first round of funding. A total of $300,000 will be awarded this year and next, along with a separate $200,000 fund to build or improve community spaces. The remaining $5 million will be available once construction begins in 2028. The projected three-berth terminal is expected to add $100 billion in annual trade capacity and create more than 7,400 construction jobs. The City of Vancouver celebrated the groundbreaking for a new rental building, marking the first project to do so in the city's Rupert and Renfrew Station plan.
We're taking the first step towards creating a community where hundreds of people will build their lives, raise families, form friendships, and become a part of this neighborhood for generations to come.
The new East Hill building is right at the corner of Broadway and Renfrew and will deliver 339 rental homes across a 31-story high-rise and an 8-story mid-rise building. The Rupert and Renfrew area project was approved last year with a goal of revitalizing the area around both SkyTrain stations over the next 25 years. The Retail Council of Canada has released its annual survey on back-to-school shopping. That survey finds 99% of parents plan to shop in-store for back-to-school essentials this year. Nearly half of parents say they're planning to use AI-powered shopping tools to build lists, compare prices, and decide where to shop. The council says average spending ranges from $600 to $750 per child when electronics are included, making it one of the most significant retail events of the year. A recently adopted rescue dog is recovering tonight after falling off a cliff 15 meters into a gorge, setting off a multi-day search in Ontario. CTV's Karis Mapp hears from the rescuers and the grateful owner.
3-year-old Willow is back home in Ingersoll after a dramatic ordeal at the Elora Gorge Conservation Area. The Labrador Retriever fell over the edge of a 60-foot cliff last Wednesday, setting off a multi-day search.
My first thought was like, this area is huge. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to find her?
Owner Becky Popiolik says she was out tubing with her son when Willow, who was wearing a leash, wandered off unnoticed. She says park workers found Willow near the edge of a trail, but the dog became afraid, backed away, and fell.
She just felt overwhelmed by the people around her, and she ended up slipping off the edge and falling.
A rescue team from the Centre Wellington Fire Department sprang into action next, rappelling down the side of the cliff.
It was about a 60-foot fall into a very wooded area between the wall and the river. So we had 3 rescuers that were down searching for the dog, and we searched for over an hour, both upriver and downriver. And unfortunately, it got dark. We had to call off our search at that point.
Becky says she kept searching for Willow on Thursday and Friday, but then had to leave.
I was like devastated. I was thinking the worst. I'm like, oh my gosh, my dog's like injured. My dog's might be dead.
The search wouldn't be over thanks to volunteer group Ground Search and Rescue KW.
We knew that they had rappelled and done all their business, and they kind of exhausted everything at that point, but we were like, let's go see. You never know.
With infrared technology, they found Willow about 500 yards downriver from where she was seen falling.
The dog was on the other side of the river, so we used an inflatable boat to have our rescuers go across the river and get the dog.
Just to see them come out with the boat and do the whole rescue and being able to witness all of that was incredible.
As soon as I got home, I got the call from the ground search and they're like, we found your dog. I was like, oh my God. So I got home and then I went back.
Following Willow's dramatic rescue, she was transported here to the Elora Gorge Animal Hospital, where she was diagnosed with exhaustion, dehydration, and a pulmonary contusion.
I walked in, I just started bawling. I fell to the floor and just hugged her and cried.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Elora.
Willow. A Slavic legend is getting a modern makeover for an upcoming TV series with a BC connection. We're getting our first look at Yaga ahead of its fall release.
Sometimes she's an ugly old witch who lives in a disappearing hut on chicken feet. Sometimes she's a wise woman, an enchantress, a healer. Sometimes
you might recognize some of the settings in this teaser trailer. Yaga was shot across Vancouver Island and stars BC's own Hudson Williams alongside Carrie-Anne Moss. The supernatural mystery will be told over 8 episodes. It premieres in October on Crave, which is owned by CTV News parent company Bell Media. Well, there were more than 300 goals scored at the World Cup, including the winning goal.
Pedro Porro, Williams!
It only took this one for Spain to win the final match, but the goal of the tournament wasn't this one. It's not even this one, scored by a superstar. We'll reveal what was chosen as best of the tournament. And later, Love Song. Adam finds out the enduring love story behind a couple that first met as teenagers at band camp. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of your morning, Vink.
Does Canada have a labor shortage or a labor surplus? Turns out it's both. Tuesday on Your Morning Vancouver, why companies are saying they can't find workers and why workers say they're not being considered. Plus, with no standardized hepatitis B screening program in BC, why many people are unaware they're living with the condition. We'll see you in the morning.
Remember when there were 2 Canadian teams in Major League Baseball? The Washington Nationals sure do. They are set to host a Canada-U.S. Friendship Day for the second game of their series with the Blue Jays tomorrow. The day includes a special hat giveaway with a Nationals cap with a maple leaf logo. The Nationals moved from Montreal to the U.S. capital at the end of the 2004 season. A pair of Vancouver Whitecaps midfielders are in North Carolina ahead of Wednesday's MLS All-Star game.
We want to win this game, and on Saturday I feel a little bit more like representing the Whitecaps again. At the moment I feel more as an MLS All-Star.
Thomas Muller will be joined by teammate Andres Cubas, who was added to the roster on the weekend. Sebastian Berhalter was also named an All-Star but will not be attending as he is set to complete his transfer to English side Middlesbrough. The MLS All-Stars will face a team of All-Stars from Mexico's Liga MX on Wednesday night. There were 308 goals scored at the 2026 World Cup, and this one has been chosen best of the tournament.
Still having a reasonable share of the game, Cabo Verde, despite falling behind once more. Oh, they've equalised! Sydney Lopez Cabral!
Lopez Cabral's shot into the far top of the corner of the Argentina net was a standout moment at the World Cup. His goal tied Cape Verde against Argentina at 2-2 in extra time of their thrilling round of 32 match. Cape Verde would eventually lose, but the African team made a stellar debut on soccer's biggest stage. Cabral's goal was chosen after FIFA drew up a short list of 12 goals for public voting that closed today. Some FedEx workers who were curious about a customer's package got quite a fright when they got to see what was inside. That leaping lizard was a very lively iguana. It gave those FedEx workers a scare after being released from the cold shipping container. The owner of the iguana, who is named Titan, says he expected it to be sleeping after being shipped overnight. The workers were eventually able to corner and wrangle him, and Titan made it to his new home. Yeesh. But doesn't iguana overnight?
Yeah.
No.
Who does that?
It's going to be raring to go afterwards.
Poor guy.
Sleeping.
Yeah.
All right, just before we get to Swatsky sign off, Lauren, what are you working on for tonight?
Well, Nafisa, as crews continue to fight several out-of-control wildfires across BC, multiple people aren't following the rules when it comes to banned campfires. And we, of course, are continuing to track the wildfires across our province, including a new human-caused blaze that ignited just east of Kamloops. It started right off the Trans-Canada Highway, and local firefighters, along with BC wildfire crews, are trying to get that one under control.
Sounds good. Thank you, Lauren. Finally, Adam meets a couple whose relationship has played all the right notes throughout the years as they write the soundtrack to their life together on the Sawatsky sign-off.
Rather than accordion, Adam Faber was playing piano during the band camp performance that changed his life.
Trying to show off as a 15-year-old boy would.
But instead of applauding, a 13-year-old girl in the back was heckling him.
Play Freebird, or whatever she was hollering at me.
She was flautist Sarah Faber, who was struck by Adam's musical talent and multicolored smile.
Really, really neon elastic colored braces. And I was like, yeah.
That's my guy.
That's the guy.
Although what they were thinking during their first conversation after that was different.
I felt like there was a lot of chemistry and, like violin lines and...
I'm out of my league, man. You're just sitting there going, oh my God, a girl.
After chatting effortlessly and playing together daily, Sarah and Adam agreed to start dating immediately after band camp.
A 25-minute drive when you don't have your license is an eternity away.
But despite the distance, the couple kept growing closer and dated consistently from middle school through university.
Enough stayed the same, and then what did changed in a way that both of us were still drawn to.
You kind of realize that you don't picture your life with anyone else.
So Adam proposed, Sarah said yes, and then they both vowed, I do.
I think each of us think the other is the cooler one.
After being married for almost 18 years and together for more than 25, now Dr. Sarah works as a neuroscientist, while Adam's hobby is crafting satirical songs like this one about community conflict over pickleball.
I wish that there was anything that I could say or do so they keep it down.
Well, his lyrics inspire enduring smiles, and her research shows the benefits of music on the aging brain. Adam and Sarah credit their longevity on always playing the soundtrack to their enduring love story together.
And every time we play it together, it's just like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, we'll be out on the porch in our rocking chairs, kind of remembering the fun times in the old songs, and maybe playing a few new ones.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. They make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
I like the description of the rainbow-colored elastics on the braces. I will confess I was a flautist in high school.
Oh, very nice.
I, too, had colored elastics on my braces. Mine were teal because it was 1995.
Super cool. I had no colors on my braces because I wasn't that cool.
I didn't have
No braces. Don't brag. Come on.
Sorry.
So you could bite into apples like a normal person.
Like a normal teenager, yeah.
Well, I'm glad they make beautiful music together. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. Check this one out. A beautiful rainbow over Burnaby Lake. Thanks, Sylvester, for sending this gorgeous shot in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
That is all for us tonight. Thank you so much for sharing part of your evening with us. Make sure you catch Lauren at 11:30 tonight.
Good night.